We're back at you today to bring you a fully detailed, fully step-by-step front porch rebuild and sidewalk rebuild all in one video. Stick with us just about 6 minutes today and you guys are going to see entirely how to do this on your own without any help. You don't even have to hire anyone if you don't want to. If you do want to hire somebody, you can always hire us, but we're going to walk you through every single detail so you can do it all by yourself. Stick with us all the way to the end to see the full before and after of this project. Double tap and give us a like, a follow, and a subscribe. If you could, we'd highly appreciate it. Step one is always the demolition. We're demolishing the existing porch. We're going to be rebuilding it as a wooden structure with composite decking. Now, we noticed that there is wood rot behind the porch, so we're going to be removing the entirety of the wood rot. We're going to be scraping it all out. We're going to be cutting it all out. We're going to be using a Sawzall. We're going to be using multi-tool, and we're going to be cutting out every piece of bad wood. We're going to be propping it up so that we can put our new double sill plate and we can put our new beams going across, and then we're going to be able to put our new sheathing on the outside. Everything is going to be done in pressure treated 2x. We are gluing it down, we're screwing it down, we're fastening everything to each other. We go back to what is good and we toenail and we tie everything into it. We're using 5.5 to 6 inch screws to make sure we're completely tied into the existing and underneath all the joists that are sitting behind. Once we get this entirely done, we're putting our sheathing on the outside. This is key. This is also a pressure treated product. Then we're going to go over it with ice and water shield. It is a rubberized membrane. It's 100% waterproof once you put it on. Now it's time to remove our sidewalk and we're going to re-pour. We're going to build it back better, not to worry. We're going to make it bigger, wider, and we're going to allow our steps to sit on this. We want to do this before we do our steps because we want our steps to have a nice landing to sit on. That is code. This is entirely going to be inspected. Everything must be to code. We have a concrete dumpster on site to remove all of our concrete debris. They then get it, they crush it back, and they sell it back to us. Now we're digging out. We're widening our trench. We're dumping it into our dumpster, and we get every piece of concrete debris out of there. We rake it out. It's time to form it up. We use 2x4 forms, and we do come a little bit above the bottom so that we make sure we have 4 inches at least of concrete. If you put your form on the bottom, you're only going to get 3.5 because that's how wide a 2x4 is, people. Put it in, I flare it out to the driveway, I level across, I want it level where my steps are going to go with pitch running away from the home. You always want pitch running away from the home, and then you're going to want it towards the driveway. We're going to break it up, we're going to put our split joints in to make everything look uniform and completely perfect going down. We got short load here, why? Because it's a nice small delivery. We have a small truck that works with us. It is affordable, it is what we like to use. Here you can see we have the high strength fibers, the fiber mesh in the concrete. You put fiber mesh in, you do not need wire. Now, I'm vibrating it as I go, and I'm screeding it as I go to make sure it is perfectly flat with pitch running where I need it to. The pitch runs again towards the driveway and away from the home. I use my level. I make sure everything is completely flat and I have no humps, bumps, or lumps underneath. Now I take my mag float and my bull float and I knock down all the humps, bumps, lumps, make sure it's completely flat, and then I go over it with my magnesium trowel, make sure everything is flat. I put my rough edge on. I'm going to rub that out, but I put my rough edge on purpose. Why? Because I want there to be the cream brought to the top in those areas and the rocks to be down in every single area, so when I go to put my finish in, nothing will impede it. It is an exterior area, so I must have a rough finish. I use my concrete broom to put my rough finish on, and then I picture frame the entirety around it. Basically for looks, I want this to look good. Then I hit it with my split joint. I break up my slabs in the fashion I so choose. I want the platform that's going to be housing my steps to be the biggest part. Then I'm going to break it down into 4-foot sections from there onwards and upwards towards the driveway, and then I'm done. I come back the next day. I strip the joints. I cut my joints in with my still cut off saw, and then I'm able. That's what we're going to be working with. Those are the plans for the steps. Now it's time to mark out and dig out. So I'm digging down where I'm going to be putting my girder. My girder is going to be supported by a 14-inch cylindrical footing that's going to go down at least 36 inches. I always, once I put my sonnet tubes in, I dig to 40 or 42 inches. I like to be safe. Why 14 inches? 14 inches in this particular jurisdiction is code for widths for footings for decks. Again, this deck is going to be supporting the girder that the deck's going to be built on. I level across, I plumb level and square, I measure off, I need to be at least 3 foot out. I've been approved for my inspection, so now I can pour them. I mix up about 8 to 9 bags of high strength concrete mix per hole. I fill them all the way up. I vibrate it down as I go. I keep checking level as I go with my sonnet tubes. I see that they can move. I got to make sure it's in the right spot. I then put my dirt around it. I backfill around it. I screed it off. I mark my centers. As you can see, I'm putting my J-bolt, a 16-inch 5/8 J-bolt that's going to be housing the 6x6 base that's going to be catching the posts that are going to be supporting my girder. I want my girder to be 3 foot away from the host so I can overlap it, cantilever it over 1 foot extra so I can make it my 4-foot by 8-foot platform. This is the size the homeowner wanted. We're going with our 2x6 pressure treated joists and our girder, and we have our space. We can do our picture frame, and then we run 12 inches on center because this is going to be composite decking. I have my flashing done there. Once I have my rough frame in, I can get my inspection. I have my hurricane ties on, tying the joist to the girder. I have to put my joist hangers on both sides. Once I do that and I get my inspection, I paint everything black so that you don't see it, but I also use the joist paint so that it protects it. It is a protectant from the weathering. Anywhere that is cut, anywhere that is top, anywhere that's exposed, I paint black. I'm using a Trex Transcend decking. Here I am, I'm shown putting in the joist hangers. I'm putting the edges on so that I can wrap for my picture frame for my steps. I'm trimming everything out entirely in AZAC. The decking is gonna be a composite decking. It's a Trex Transcend spiced rum in color. As you can see, I'm picture framing around on the outside of my border. Not picture framing. I'm doing my border in an AZAC rim. It is white, and I'm gluing it, and I'm finish nailing it on. Now I'm doing my picture frame border in my Trex Transcend decking. I have color match screws, so I'm screwing and I'm plugging with my spiced rum color match screws and plugs, and then I'm going to be using hidden fasteners everywhere I run in between. I cut all my boards first. I space them out, I put them in, and I run it before I do a single one down. Then I make sure my space is extremely even. It's even all the way around, and then once I feel that it's in the place I need it to, I put my starter point, my hidden starter strip at the right space that I need it so it matches the same spacing as those hidden fasteners. And then once I do those, I put those in and I fasten them and I pull tight up against the first starter piece is critical. You must pry them and then you run and you fly from there. You want your last piece, to, if it's a cut piece, to be tucked under the siding so it's not noticeable. Now we're putting our new columns up as selected by the homeowner. They're PVC with a metal inside. They each support 4,000 pounds. And now we're wrapping it entirely new with aluminum coil. We're doing our railings. We're doing our lattice under our deck. We're spacing for our rails so that there's an even 3 inches on both sides, so the start and the beginning, so it's perfectly plumb level and square, and it matches going up top to bottom. Now here I'm just showing how we're putting that trim all the way around to replace where the trim that was there had the temporary supports that damaged it a bit. So we make everything look new while we're at it. We're doing our rails. We're having a new screen door. It's a black storm door. There are going to be other new black accents on the home that everything's going to tie into. We trim out the entirety in black so that it looks like it pops once the screen door is installed on it. We glue our caps for our posts, and we clean everything with Spray 9 as we go. As you can see, we put a new black kick plate on to match the door so it's clean and pristine. Now we go through with our Spray 9. We clean the entirety of the deck. You want your job looking like it's brandy new and like you were never there when you're done, and we think we did so. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Here's your finished look.